There's always fucking technical issues happening on the stream, huh? Right? It gets me all fired up. So then it makes me want to really speak my mind.
Welcome back, and it didn't take long, but once again, there's more DrDisrespect streamer drama going on, this time with the targets aimed at Nickmercs and DrLupo. In a fiery rant after some technical difficulties on his stream, DrDisrespect unloaded on Nickmercs and DrLupo, among other people. Here's what he had to say.
You know what I mean, champs? These people have met, like those two people met Mrs. Assassin and Baby Assassin, Little Assassin, right? They met him multiple times. So for Nick to go on some fucking low-budget podcast and talk about us the way he did, like, who does that? Like, pause the music. And then Lupo's screaming at the top of his lungs. He's got 400 viewers now. No one gives a, like, he's always copied us. Transitions, intros, all that stuff. He's always has. Like, I'm just gonna go and release some stuff off my mind. Disrespecting me, disrespecting my Mrs. Assassin, Little Assassin. Come on, man. That's how you get knocked the fuck out. Guy thinks he's this Nickmercs dude. I don't even know what happened to him. I don't know if he's still around. He thinks he's like tough guy putting his who can I knock out in a fight list together. Like first off, who does that shit, man? Second off, this guy won't even come close. No way.
So unless you've been living under a rock, you know exactly what happened with the DrDisrespect over the past couple of years, all the allegations that transpired along with his responses, and of course this split the community completely. Not only those who watched him, but also people who were aware of him started to hate him, along with those that already hated him even more. But this also included streamers that he had played with. All these streamers, they play with each other, they collaborate, they do streams together and all that. And Nickmercs was one of the people that he did several streams with in the past, along with a couple here and there with DrLupo, but it was mainly with people like Nickmercs and Tim the Tatman and people like that. So obviously when this news broke, it completely shattered any kind of relationship that he had with a lot of these bigger streamers, because automatically, as with a lot of these things go, you're guilty by association. So anybody that decided to continue playing with him, or anybody that had nothing to say about it, obviously is going to be met with criticism, is going to be met with people saying, oh, you're defending him, this and that. So it's really a tricky situation, because on one hand, in terms of entertainment value, you obviously enjoyed playing with him, and also in a business move as well, because this is all money based and you're using each other's popularities to gain even more popularity, to gain even more views. So this is a very mutual exchange. But besides that, it definitely seemed like there was definitely some rapport between this core group of people, and obviously this is shattered and they basically have to sever ties. So in the clip you can hear DrDisrespect is alluding to a podcast, a low budget podcast that Nickmercs was on. So the only podcast I could really find, and the one that I believe he's referring to, because he doesn't say it by name, is the Bussin with the Boys podcast. And in this podcast I was able to find this clip of him talking about the situation.
No matter how it, I mean, if you're speaking inappropriately with an underage person, it's done for me. That's me, done. Like anybody else would in this bus. I go on there, everybody's pressing, the whole world's pressing me, right? I go on Twitter, I say, look, facts came out, basically, this sucks. We didn't know about this, obviously, and we're gonna cut ties, and we don't condone or agree with anything like this, and
cut all ties,
and we're cutting ties, done.
Along with him talking about this, he basically was saying that there's really no way to keep the community happy, and they were kind of coming at him even if he was responding or not. And he basically, just to summarize, I mean, like you heard, he just kind of cut ties with DrDisrespect. So pretty straightforward. I'm not entirely sure what DrDisrespect is referring to. I did try to check out the whole part where he was talking about DrDisrespect, but I couldn't really find anything where he's threatening, or rather he's claiming that he can beat him up. That might be another clip, or I may have missed it, but clearly DrDisrespect was alluding to something that he had said in terms of being able to have this sort of tough guy act and he can beat other people up, along with disrespecting his wife and his child as well. I didn't quite hear that in the podcast, but be as it may, he had his sights set on Nickmercs, somebody who had played with him and in his eyes betrayed him. And then going over to DrLupo, which was the second person, here's what he had to say about the DrDisrespect allegations.
There's no way you do not have
brain damage from this. Anywhere along that path, you go, oh, that's fine. You got something f***ed up in your head. He messaged a 17-year-old when he was in his late 30s with a child and married, trying to solicit them for sex. And every single time he talks about it, it's going to be sugar-coated. It's going to be dumbed down, because at what point do you expect someone to say, yeah, I wanted to f*** a teenager? Do you think he's going to say that? No.
So as you can see, a lot more brutal with the logic, and of course, you know, the emotions are running high in this case, especially with people on both sides. I mean, you could see it in the comments of this video, I'm sure you can see it, but DrLupo is just a lot more straightforward with it as well, but both were caught in the crossfire. On top of this, DrDisrespect also called out Dextero and Jake Lucky and all these reporters basically that come in here and try to make a story out of anything, and getting that sort of tabloid headline. And a lot of this happens without much actual research as well. So I'm not saying anything is not true or everything that they say isn't true, but a lot of these headlines try to just kind of go for the quick story rather than waiting things to unfold. So it's quite an interesting thing, and it really has been a tense situation for a lot of people, even over these past couple of months, especially streamers. You have people like Tim the Tatman and people like that, Z-Laner, people who he used to play with, that didn't outwardly say anything about him, but rather just said that they couldn't really support that and they took a step back, but were not completely against the idea of playing with him or playing any games with him again. You know, and DrDisrespect basically said that if they phoned him up and basically talked to him about it, they could potentially play or stream together at some point. But again, that's another thing, but it's quite interesting, this whole situation and how it went down. But from what I'm seeing with this is, you know, not defending anybody in this case, either side, but I am trying to find the, again, I didn't really hear anything in that clip of Nickmercs that really would elicit some kind of response like that. But again, there may be something else. But regardless, it is interesting to see how this thing unfolded and how people are taking this. But what do you guys think? Let me know below. Whose side are you on, if anything? If you like this video, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Stay up to date with the latest videos just like this. Slickshot Games signing off.